Shut up and sit down.
What's the story, Internet?
Shut up and sit down.
What's the story, Internet? Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Have a lot to get through today. We've got some Premier League, some Ligue 1, some Bundesliga, some Serie A, even some FA Cup. So a lot to get through today. So I'm going to start with Ligue 1. So we have a second versus third. We have Lyon versus Paris Saint-Germain. And PSG are coming off of that great Champions League win where they got through to the next round at the expense of Barcelona, winning 5-2 on aggregate. So they'll be up for this match. But they're both, like I said, PSG are in second, Lyon are in third. They're both 3 points behind Lille, both level on points with 60. PSG have a vastly superior goal difference to everyone. But this is a very important match because whoever wins this, depending on the result with Lille, will be right there. If Lille aren't able to, let's see, who are they playing? If Lille aren't able to beat Nîmes, or Nimes, I don't know, some French team, then if either of these teams win, then they could be level on points. So this is a vastly important match in the French league. Jumping over to the Bundesliga, there's nothing hugely important. I just wanted to mention the Bayern Munich versus Stuttgart match because it is a bit of a rivalry. Two teams from Bavaria, so a bit of a rivalry, so it's nice to see that rivalry back again. I don't think there's enough rivalries here. There's Dortmund and Munich, but they're more of a team rivalry than, say, a local rivalry like North London or Manchester or Merseyside. So it's nice to see that local derby. So and plus, with Leipzig winning, Bayern Munich will need to stamp their mark against Stuttgart. Stuttgart are doing much better than anyone expected. They're actually in 8th right now. They're not within any hope of winning the Bundesliga, but they're only 8 points behind Frankfurt in 4th, so potential to get into Europe for next year. So Stuttgart have plenty to play for, Bayern have plenty to play for, so it should be a relatively interesting match. Over to the Serie A, Roma versus Napoli, two big powerhouses in Italian football going head to head. Neither side are doing particularly well this season. They're both 5th and 6th, both on 50 points. I mean, they are only 6 points behind AC Milan in second. So, I mean, when I say they're not doing particularly well, they're just not living up to the standards that they usually do. So, if AC Milan stumble against Fiorentina, this could be a great opportunity for one of these two to jump over them. So, and especially because it's just before the international break. So any momentum that they can build right now will just block off other teams if they fail. So great potential for some teams at the moment. Moving over to the Premier League, tomorrow we have Brighton versus Newcastle, a battle for relegation right here. Especially after, well, I'm not going to talk about today's result because I'm going to talk about it in my review match, but in my review video on Monday. But something happened today. There was a match today that will spark these two into action. So Brighton is only 1 point ahead of Newcastle in 16th with 29 points. Newcastle's on 28 points. Brighton do have a plus 10 goal difference over Newcastle. I mean, they're still on -7, but -7 is better than -17. But yeah, both sides will be looking to stamp their mark on this match. Especially with other teams playing in the FA Cup. So if they can get a win here, it could have potential to shake things up. So we'll have to see who comes out fighting more. I fancy Brighton personally, just because of recent results. Newcastle is very hit and miss. Steve Bruce doesn't seem to have them properly chugging along. You can see signs every now and again, but they're not like Newcastle, say, when Michael Owen and Mark Viduka and players like that were there. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going to call Brighton here. So, moving on to the next match, we have West Ham versus Arsenal, bit of a London derby. So yeah, I think Arsenal will be looking to make up for, even though they technically won by going through to the next round in the Europa League, they'll want to correct the loss that they had against Olympiacos, the 1-0, especially because it was at home. However, they are just off the back of the win in the North London derby. And like I said, they went through the Europa League. So they'll be feeling quite good about themselves. And I think that West Ham will want to recover from the loss to Manchester United. So, especially because they are still in 5th, still hope to get into the Champions League somehow, but also still hope to get into the Europa League. So I think that both teams will fight for this. West Ham could pull off an upset depending on which Arsenal shows up. If it's the Arsenal against Olympiacos from yesterday, West Ham's going to batter them. If it's the Arsenal from the North London derby, could be another story. So could go either way, this one. I'm going to say that Arsenal are more than likely going to win, but I'm also going to tip my hat and say that West Ham are going to get the upset. So you hit it here first. And then the last Premier League match, we have Aston Villa versus Tottenham. Tottenham desperately need to get their act together after being dumped out of the Europa League by a team whose manager was in prison for fraud. And so Aston Villa are only 4 points behind Spurs. If they win this, they'll be 1 point behind Spurs, and they have a game in hand. So Tottenham really need to win this one. Aston Villa could do with winning this one as well. Get their form back just before the international break. Get the players pumped up. So I think this is going to be a good match. I'm going to call Aston Villa on this one, just because of how shaky Tottenham have been the last couple of weeks. They did get their act together a little bit. Gareth Bale started chugging, but nothing major. And the North London derby just came and knocked everything down. And then Zagreb just came and knocked it even further. So whatever foundation they had has just been completely thrown in the bin. So so those are the Premier League matches. Let's go over the channels, and then I'll go into the FA Cup fixtures. So Brighton versus Newcastle is on Peacock. Moving on to Sunday, West Ham versus Arsenal is also on Peacock, and then Aston Villa versus Spurs is NBCSN. And then over to the FA Cup, and I just want to say before I say them, I believe that the FA Cup is on ESPN, but let's have a look. Because they do have a tendency to jump around. Let's have a look. ESPN Plus, so none of them are on TV, so you have to have ESPN Plus or find a dodgy stream somewhere. So, but these are the fixtures, if anything takes your fancy. So, South Coast rivalry, Bournemouth versus Southampton. Bournemouth, of course, are in the Championship. Let's have a look at how they're doing in the Championship right now. So, they are currently, if the standings ever want to load, well, let's have a look at their last couple of fixtures. They beat Swansea, lost to Barnsley, drew with Preston, beat Bristol, beat Watford, lost to Cardiff. So they're a bit all over the place at the minute. Yeah, I can't get the Championship table to load. So, but Southampton have been awful at the minute. So if Bournemouth were ever going to have an opportunity to prove themselves and jump into the next round and prove themselves in a quarter-final, this is it. Because Southampton have just been woeful recently. I don't know what's happened to Danny Ings, I don't know what's happened to James Ward-Prowse, but they have properly fallen off. So, I just saw Bournemouth won their only previous FA Cup tie against Southampton, winning 3-1 in a first-round replay in 1953. So a nice little bit of a rematch there. So yeah, I think Southampton are going to struggle, but it's a Championship side, so they should be beating them. But don't underestimate Bournemouth, and I can see this being a big upset. Everton versus Manchester City, huge match. Everton will want to bounce back from their defeat over the weekend against Burnley, and they also lost against Chelsea, so they've got 2 back-to-back losses. They'll want to bounce back from this, and they'll want to progress in the Cup. It's a great opportunity for them to win the silverware for the first time in God knows how long. Let's have a look. They last reached the semi-final in 2015, and oh wow, it's the first time since they've met since the 80s. City won 3-1. So yeah, I think this should be a very interesting match. I'm going to call an Everton upset because I think that City will be so focused on having just come from the Champions League, looking forward to the international break. Not to say that they'll take their eye off the ball, but I think Everton could catch them out here. I think Everton could come out fighting, and it'll take City by surprise, a bit like United did a couple of weeks ago. So, Chelsea versus Sheffield United. Poor old Sheffield United, no Chris Wilder, 20th in the Premier League, just lost 5-0 to Leicester. Can they pull it out of the bag? This is what cup competitions are all about, if they're going to. But I think Chelsea are just too strong at the moment. Embarrassed Atletico Madrid and beat Everton over the weekend. I mean, Thomas Tuchel has just got Chelsea into a well-oiled machine. Got his Germans, Havertz and Werner, doing what they did in the Bundesliga. So, yeah, I think this has just got a Chelsea win all over it. But just like the Southampton-Bournemouth match, just like the Everton-City match, never say never. The underdogs, especially in cups, will come out fighting. And so it's who can put the ball in the back of the net on the day. Doesn't matter if you have 97% possession, if the other team hoofs it up the pitch and puts it in the back of the net, that's it. So, and then the final quarter-final is Leicester City versus Manchester United. So a big match, second against third in the Premier League. So if this was in the league, it'd be a huge match. So we played them previously in the FA Cup in 1976 and then in 1963. Won both of those, and we actually beat them in the final in 1963. So there you go. I don't want to read any more because some of these are just tempting fate. So yeah, I think this should be a very interesting match. Last time these two played, I believe Manchester United won. I'm pretty sure that Manchester United won. Oh no, it was the 2-2 draw. I forgot about that. Yeah, so that was the 2-2 draw on Boxing Day. So yeah, definitely not a team to sniff at. I mean, like I said, they are currently third in the Premier League. So not a team to underestimate here. Especially because they're only 1 point behind us. So I'm going to call this as a 3-2, maybe a 2-2 and then go to extra time. I think it's going to be a very entertaining, very exciting match. A proper cup fixture, I'm hoping anyway. So that's on Sunday. So yeah, very entertaining weekend of fixtures, especially the cup. The FA Cup is where all eyes are going to be. Unless you're a Ligue 1 fan or a Serie A fan, because there's some fixtures in there to keep an eye on. So, as I mentioned earlier, I'll be back with you for a review show on Monday. It's also the international break next week, so I'll probably do a brief video about the upcoming international fixtures. It's friendlies though, so there's nothing huge. I think there might be some qualifiers on other continents, maybe in Africa, the Americas, maybe Asia. So that could be something to talk about. But as far as Europe, it's all friendlies. So, so yeah, I'll probably just do one video talking about all of them, and then I'll probably take a break for a bit until the proper football comes back. So, but in the meantime, I hope you're all staying safe, keeping out of trouble. Have a wonderful day and have a wonderful weekend. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Ta-ra for now.